Hey guys, SirVern back, and today I'm going to make a video response to a very old video that Ircha Gaming made. She made this in February 2017. Definitely go check out her channel. She is awesome. And she made it, it was called the Ultimate Video Game Questions Tag, something like that. But anyway, she was asked like 5 questions and they were, deep thinking questions. So I decided I'd make the same. Kind of on the spot. I've thought about it a little bit, but this is kind of just off the cuff. So number one question she was asked, one game you could play forever, like a desert island game. And she split it in two. She said like one single player and one online game. So I am going to do just one game that's both, but you could play it single player. And this one is the one question I actually thought about for a while. So I went through, everybody, is going to probably pick some kind of like Fallout or Skyrim. But the two I came down to the wire with was Minecraft, believe it or not, or, and I'm not sure if this is cheating or not, but the Mass Effect trilogy, But I really got to thinking, Skyrim, that is a very long game, and to really complete everything in that game would take hundreds and hundreds of hours. But I truly believe in, after making different classes, I mean, there's so much you can do. You could probably put thousands of hours into it, and people have done that. But I think that eventually you're going to run out of stuff to do, and it's going to get old. You can, after that, look for glitches and Easter eggs and stuff like that, but I truly believe after a while, it's going to get old, RPGs. So I'm going with Minecraft. I know that's an odd choice. If you haven't played Minecraft and you think it's a kid's game, it's really not. It's if you enjoyed Legos as a kid, you would love this game. It's just a creation game. It also has a story that's kind of behind the scenes and not self-explanatory. So you could go and beat that game. But you can also create things. It has, your imagination is the limit. You can develop new, like every time you start the game, it's kind of like a different environment. There's different things to do. You can build different things. You can try to survive in different ways, different scenarios. You can make your own rules and build things you're familiar with. I always think about, building my first house that I ever grew up in, my house I grew up in, or building the entire city I grew up in. Just things like that. There's so much you can do in Minecraft that is just, it can also last thousands of hours. And to me, they all have stories. Minecraft's story is considerably shorter. Although I've never beat it, it's considerably shorter than like doing all the quests in Skyrim, of course. But I'm going to go with Minecraft, although that may seem bizarre. And it's also an online game, so you could play with friends. If I'm kind of blending the two questions together, but Minecraft would be my answer. Number two, how would you feel if no more video games were released from here on? I wouldn't like it. Obviously, I like to try new games, but there's so many games out there already. I have a lot of games. I have a huge collection. So if none were created from here on out, I'm sure my collection would last me for years and years. And the third question is kind of related. That's why I didn't talk a whole bunch about that one. So number three, could you live comfortably for the rest of your life with what you have now? What games you have now? And at this point, I thoroughly believe I could. All those games I mentioned previously, Skyrim, Fallout, I have all those games. I have every single Elder Scrolls game. I have 16 different consoles. I probably have about 1,000 games. I really need to go count them. But a lot of the games I have are very long. Ni no Kuni, 1, 2, Fallout. I have all the Fallouts. I have all the, the Witcher series. I have, the Mass Effect trilogy. Just so many games. You could just not every single Final Fantasy. I have a lot of Final Fantasy games. Just thinking about that, if I played every single day for 4 hours, which, that's a lot for me nowadays. I really don't put as many hours as I used to into video games. It could last me 20 years. I mean, it really could, because I have so many games. And I'm talking about beating games, trying to platinum the games or beating them and trying to get all the endings, doing everything you can do in every single game. Just a guess, top of my head, 20 years. Um, and that might be taking a break for vacation, blah, 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 blah. Life happens. But I have a lot of games. In fact, I'm going to also, during this little recovery period, do a full game room tour. So look forward to that soon. All right. Next question. If your house burned down, what would be the first things you would buy back? So, I hadn't really thought about this a whole lot. So, my house burnt down. Everything was destroyed. What would I buy back first? So I'm really weird when it comes to video games. I buy everything new that is new. Meaning that, like, if I go buy an N64 game, sure, you could buy it new, but it's just way too expensive. So anything that is currently out, I buy new, even if it's a great deal used. It's just the way I am. I want my games to last forever. I don't want scratches on my discs. I want everything to be pristine. So if everything burnt down to the ground, I would go buy a PS5. And I would, because that's going to last you at least 15 years. I think the PS5, especially considering current situations worldwide, will be a relevant system for 15 years. I think this will be the last physical media system. So I think I would run out and buy a PS5 and, just kind of start collecting again. I don't think I would immediately switch to digital, although that did cross my mind, because am I really going to want to start completely over after 20 years of collecting? I don't know. But I would at least start with current gen, and move forward from there. And when I say current, I also mean buying PS4 games, because they're all pretty much backwards compatible with the PS5. So that'd be the first thing I went out and bought. And maybe a Switch. Maybe a Switch. Although, it's getting towards the end of its life cycle. But the good thing about that, the Switch has a huge library. So first thing, of course, would be a PS5 and a TV. TV got destroyed too, and then probably a Switch. If I had two consoles, it would be a Switch and PS5, no doubt. The last question: if you could choose one game to be buried with, which would you choose? That's kind of an odd question. I guess your favorite game of all time. I asked someone recently, are you always in search of your next favorite game? And to me, that's what I'm always in search for. I am looking to surpass my favorite game. Find a game that I like better than my all-time favorite game. I'm always. So my favorite genre is strategy, just by far. Next would be like RPG probably. But I love strategy games because of how much replay value they have. That was a close like second pick for me when it came to like one game, island game, would be some kind of strategy game, because you can go about beating it in different ways. But I guess I'm going to be buried with my favorite game of all time currently, which is Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth 2 on the Xbox 360. Me and my best buddy, Caleb, played hundreds, if not thousands of hours of that game. I own 2 copies of it just to make sure they're not going to get damaged. I own a 360, the strategy guide for it. It's my favorite game. I even downloaded the PC version and play that online still. You can still play it online. That's my current favorite game, and for nostalgia purposes, for memory purposes, that's my favorite game of all time. It has been since it came out in early 2000s. So anyway, that's my video. Once again, check out Ircha Gaming. She is awesome. She does reviews. She's more like a Switch channel, but she has PS4 and Xbox as well. So anyway, SirVern out.